Started.
I got $6.
Okay, meeting comes to order Thursday, September 8th. Okay, audience and citizens. Okay, hearing none. Approval of minutes for August 11th. Everybody had a chance to take a look at it. Is Joe on or no?
Nope.
Okay, so we have 4 commissioners. And everybody was
Andrew has to
here.
abstain.
You were absent,
That's all right. You have 4. You can still make the vote. I checked with Kate.
but Andrew wasn't at the.
But you have enough to take the vote. He just doesn't vote. So we're
Oh,
good.
okay.
We have a
All right,
quorum to
thank
take
you.
the vote.
Okay, can I- thank you. Seconded by Don.
Second it.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Stay.
Abstain. Okay. Okay, consent agenda. Let's do what we have. Can I have a motion to accept consent agenda at item A?
I'll make a motion to accept consent agenda item A. Second.
Okay. Any discussion?
Let me give you a quick overview of it.
Sure.
Quick, I promise.
Okay.
So, Terry has retired and Terry used to run our Spirit Crow contest, our festival. So I reached out to Peggy Lauer, I think is her name, her last name, she does art classes for us already. She's interested in taking it over. So we talked about, let's offer a workshop for people who may not, who want to do one, but may not really know how to build one. So we're gonna offer a program on a Saturday at the community center. It's gonna be $20. We're gonna have, this hay is donated. I've already bought like smaller burlap bags, some larger ones. We have some other arts and crafts supplies that people can use. And we're just asking if someone is gonna have something that needs like shoes or clothes or whatever, they bring that, but this way they can come to the community center. She'll help people put them together. And then we're gonna have them on display, and our plan is actually to have them on display as you drive in town hall on that open grass area. So when you come in, you'll see all the Spirit Crows in one spot, rather than sometimes driving up and down Farmington Avenue, and people don't always see them. So this way they'll be in one area.
Right.
And Matson's is kind enough to donate all the straw or the hay that we need to put these together. So that's what it is.
Worth a shot, right?
Yeah,
We'll
we'll
try
give it
it.
a try
That's
and
great.
see
That's
if people are interested.
Sure. Okay, so any further discussion? Okay, hearing none. All in favor of accepting consent agenda item A? Aye.
Aye.
Joe? Aye, okay. Thank you. We're gonna add, so I'm gonna ask for a motion to add consent item B. Request approval by Berlin Lion Clubs to sell luminaries for $10 for 1 or 20 for 3 at Sage Park at the BHS home football games on October 21st and 28th. All funds raised will be donated to the local veterans. I have a motion? Then you don't have to.
A motion to put the agenda.
Item B.
B.
Okay.
The request by the Berlin Lions Club to sell luminaries for $10 for 1 or $20 for 3 at Sage Park at Berlin High School home football games on October 21st, 2022 and October 28th, 2022, which the funds raised will go to local veterans.
A second.
Okay. Vote to
Any
have it
discussion?
added. No, first it's vote to have it added.
Supposed to what?
First,
Oh,
you're
to
making
add
a
it.
motion to
All
add
right,
it.
that's what I
so we
said.
can vote on that,
Okay,
yeah.
so-
Second.
All right, all in favor to add it?
Aye.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, Tony, can you make a motion to accept agenda item B?
I'd like to make a motion to accept agenda item B as presented.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Okay. Any further discussion?
Ron was gonna be here tonight, but he couldn't make it. I don't know if you guys want any information. He provided me some information. I did reach out to the high school, the president of Boosters and the high school principal, and they are okay with the Lions setting up a tent those 2 nights.
Good.
Right,
It's for the right reason.
okay.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Okay, Parks and Rec, monthly report, Debbie?
Yeah, I sent it out, just a quick, so Ally has started with us in the office and has been a great help trying to get us up and moving for the fall. starting to register for fall programs and trying to get back to a more normal setting hopefully without any COVID setbacks. Got all the paperwork back for use of the gyms this winter from the Board of Education, and then I briefly explained the Scarecrow workshop that we're going to do. And also, we will do a regular trunk or treat this year where we'll still have people register, so we know. It'll be at Sage Park on Saturday, October 22nd. We'll have people park in the larger parking lot between the softball and baseball field, and then we will set up all the trunks by the football field and kind of have people walk in one way, go around, loop back, and then they can walk back to their cars. So I think a lot of people kind of are pushing to try to get back to a regular trunk or treat. So we'll do it this year, see what happens. I know people like the drive-through also because it made it a quicker event for the parents, but we'll try this anyway. Hopefully we'll have good weather. But that's
Okay,
the plan for this year. Any questions? Yeah, go ahead.
This file,
Yep.
I don't know, I'm not used to seeing these revenues and pluses and minuses.
I do it every year.
I'm just not used to that in corporate world, so can someone just explain, so just so I understand, so.
The
revenues-
parentheses are previous year's figures for you to compare.
Okay, got it.
Right, so
So,
that's,
so the 33,000 is 2021.
That's
And
correct.
2022 is 55,000.
that's correct. And keeping in mind that we took less kids last year because of COVID. Even though we had one site this year, our numbers, we took more
Yeah.
kids, so our numbers had increased.
big.
Yeah.
Okay, that was my question, I
Yeah.
just didn't understand.
Yeah, no,
Okay,
we
so-
were, well, that had been brought up years ago to try to do that, so that's why all of the figures, so it's just a comparison, so you can see one year to the next. But last year was kind of hard because of the shortened numbers, but I just wanted to give some kind of, so you have some idea. We also collect additional revenue that goes into our special revenue account to pay for the field trips, the buses, all that other stuff that isn't reflected here. Because that kind of pays for everything else. This is just what comes out of the budget and goes back to the town.
So it's July through June,
No, it's the summer.
just summer.
There's no, we start registration in May, so it's not there's no calendar here.
Debbie, the cost, the incremental cost, not your costs or anything like that for the summer program. Any idea if it's net income to the town, you know, the difference between revenue and the expense? or-
It's hard to figure out. I didn't get a chance to try to go through that this year because we were still trying to figure out, we had a few issues with our software, and I just got a lot of the campership money put into the system, so I haven't looked. In the past, we've been pretty close. I did hire an extra person this year at the site just to make sure that we had enough staff coverage, so I don't know if that's gonna put the numbers over a little bit, but it's pretty close to what we're bringing in, yeah.
And that's the intent, it's
Yes.
supposed to cover the incremental costs, the variable type of costs, so.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a lot more money than what we used to bring in when we had to drive the playground, so.
It's funny that under pool attendance, the total revenue, both years are almost the same.
Yeah.
Total daily fees, almost the same. In 21, we're still like, COVID heavy.
No, we had no restrictions last year, so I think that was the first year. The numbers are now pretty, to me, they were up this year to some degree, but last year's summer was awful. This year to me was the ideal summer.
Mhm.
But compared to like 4 years ago, our numbers are almost in half of our attendance.
They're up what?
They're almost cut in half of what our attendance used to
Not as
be.
many people.
A lot of people put pools in. And I don't know, this summer, there were some beautiful sunny days and there was no one at the pool. So I don't, especially East Burlington, that happened quite a bit. People would show up at like 5 o'clock. So the first 5 hours, there would be very little activity at the pool, so.
Is there an issue with the hours that one was open, with hours like not regular or?
No, they were regular during the week. We just didn't open East Burlington on the weekends because I didn't have enough proper staff.
Is that what the asterisk is for the attendance?
Yeah.
numbers?
The pool attendance, yeah, it's only a 5-day week instead of a 7.
Okay. And so
But I don't
it's
really
seven
think
days.
it would have made that much of a difference, honestly. again, first of all, it was open and we didn't have large numbers. We had decent numbers, but I didn't have the older staff, which I had explained before that, to be able to supervise the pool. The older staff were pretty much stretched to as many hours as they could work. So to add in another 14 hours or 12 hours would have been difficult.
We're still digging out to get to normal, so, I mean, as far as things are concerned, between last year and this year, honestly, I personally see this as net growth positive. Great job.
Thank you.
But
I
overall-
don't, but thank you. I
Well, like a
appreciate it.
5-year trend, it's probably all downward.
I have numbers, in 2017, we had over 8,000 people attend our pools, and this year we had just over 5,000. Big drop. Almost 10.
So then, you know, something to consider when if we're gonna talk about spending a lot of money on making a school repair.
Right. And look at the attendance.
People aren't even
Only for the
And
week.
Tony, I think you nailed it on that one, but at the same time, keep in mind that, you know, we had the most abnormal year.
Yeah.
Last year, the last few years, we've had pretty abnormal years, because of COVID, because of this, because of that. I mean, you could make the argument that it's gonna go down, but it could, what red is rain, go ahead, kick us all in the gut in another 2 years and be higher than it's ever been. So we don't.
Yeah, it could also be that more people went on vacation.
Yeah.
There's a
That's
lot
a
of
that's a
travel.
possibility.
Travel.
It's
And a lot of
definitely,
people put pools in.
Yeah, you
A
can't
lot
get-
of people.
You can't get a pool anymore.
the building
Right, you
department,
can't.
Sold
It's
out.
yeah,
2
the
years.
building
Right.
department had commented with me how much,
That they've seen pools going in,
Yeah.
like,
huge amount in town.
that's what people chose to do.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I'm presenting the numbers and both, you know. See where things go, but to me, that's in a 6-year period, that's a pretty drop.
so the 4,700 for Dolphins swim team?
Yes.
Is that for Dolphins, just Dolphins?
Yeah.
And so they pay a price to be part of the swim team?
Yeah.
And do they pay per visit to the pool?
No, they pay, it's like a program registration fee. They pay, I think it's $120, and that covers them to participate in the program. It covers the swim meets, there's no additional cost.
So 38 people made up the 4,700?
Yes.
Gotcha.
And those numbers were down, obviously drastically.
Any other questions? Joe, you good? Okay. We've done the statistics now, Parks and Grounds.
Yeah, Steve couldn't make it tonight. He did provide his monthly report as usual. 2 notes is the leash-free area is completely finished. It's open, it's being used. It's being monitored, not monitored, but animal control is doing rounds there once a day. And I just spoke with the chief of police today, and he's gonna have his department do some rounds there just to kind of remind people, and also do rounds at Bicentennial to remind them that that is now not leash free. So, and the other big thing they did was they filled holes and kept drainage pipes along the cart path at Crystal Creek. So everything else is in his report of what was done.
He sent me a picture.
What do they do about the people, I don't know if you knew this, but they posted the horse manure on the trails.
So
I mean,
there's
can't bag
no state law that says you have to pick up your horse manure. So unfortunately, it's not something we can enforce. The majority of people will, kick it to the side, but there's also people that are on horses that can't get down without a step or without help. So unfortunately, we just have to do the best we can.
There was a big one in the parking lot also.
so what happens with it? Is it just left there or does
Typically,
he
some
send
good
somebody
citizen,
there?
typically
eventually?
some good citizen will push it to the side at some point. But it's
Or-
not anything we can enforce.
Parks and Grounds are there if they're still there.
Yeah, if they're mowing and they see it, yeah.
Hey, natural fertilizers.
The one good thing about that posting, I'm glad they posted it. And Mattson came back and said, well, when we ride our horse, we make sure we go back
Right.
to pick it up.
Yeah.
So hopefully a little,
Some people do, some people don't,
Social
unfortunately.
but yeah. The other thing, is I did stop by there a couple of days during the week and everything, just to see how it's going. What I did like is many of the dog owners were walking down to the second crosswalk, which was just added, to go across to the dog, park. So that to me was very positive, because they're not going, in and around and all that kind of stuff, for the most part, there were a couple of them. So I thought that was good.
I would just like to comment that the 2 soccer jamborees, Saturday and Sunday, went off, to my knowledge, without a hitch or. a
Monday?
complaint. Saturday and
Saturday.
Saturday.
Yeah, and Dinesh never had his party.
He
So,
did.
No.
Yeah.
We canceled because of rain, but it went off, the building was fine, the bathrooms were beautiful and worked great. No complaints to my knowledge.
That's
Yeah, we
great.
had custodial staff and ground staff on both Saturday morning because we had the Friday night football scrimmage. And then we had them again Sunday evening, I think they came to clean up the bathrooms and everything. So.
So it went very, very well. Just a side note to note that I met with the health inspector, registered sanitarian Jeffrey Cheeto, both days, and watched him go through his inspection, because he has to get the licenses for it. He did mention that he'd like to see the kitchen upgrade. And that
Probably on facilities capital plan, but
he
I'll ask.
actually has the, I don't know, if it's the authority or the ruling or licensing behind him to say that it
It has to
needs
happen.
to. Yeah,
But he's not saying that yet.
no, not yet, because I told him, well, we're in the middle of the season.
Yeah.
I will let Doug know that
So
Jeff
just,
mentioned it.
maybe you want to pass that along.
Yeah, I'll pass it on to
Change
Doug.
that. Because he said that the place looks. Like it is.
Interested that he hasn't passed that along, himself, right? I mean, should, yeah. Okay,
Yeah. Yes.
Really, yeah.
okay, state of Connecticut, Brent,
The Skyview update is the same. Next week, we're meeting with Eileen at the high school and Dave, the AD, to kind of go over our preliminary designs and lineage and, go over that. So we haven't had any updates since that. And you guys had asked if I would invite Doug Solik. Unfortunately, he's on vacation and wasn't able to make it, but he did provide the scoreboard update email that's in your agenda package. So any questions, you can send them to me and I can ask Doug.
Can I ask a question now? Was it always tentative date around that Thanksgiving, beginning of December?
That I
always
don't know.
I thought it was gonna be a little earlier,
That's,
because that's the end of the season.
that's what I was.
Yeah. Yeah, I know they were trying to get it in, but.
I do recall that it was never gonna be there for the beginning of the season.
Right.
so-
No,
that's
I agree,
Yeah,
but I
remember
thought it
that.
was gonna be somewhere in between,
Yeah,
and.
and he could be putting Thanksgiving to cover in case
No,
there's
I'm just-
delay.
I'm just curious,
Yeah,
because it's, because the site work's gonna start in the beginning of September,
Yeah.
according to what this says.
They have any
But we're in the middle of September.
I know.
You guys have a Thanksgiving dinner, Richard?
Yes,
Oh, okay, against the Riders.
but it's not on Thanksgiving.
now you guys are always the day before,
It's-
right?
No, it's a week before.
Oh, it's the week before.
They never played on Thanksgiving.
So what the Riders,
Okay.
right?
Yeah,
Jen,
just one last question.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
So we just have to be very careful, right? Because if you read his note, the site starts in September, and it's in September, but it's supposed to go between September and November. We cannot afford not to have scoreboard.
We have stressed that to Doug, both myself and Steve in separate emails, so, and have CC'd each other
Still
on
on
it.
a wire cut.
Any idea why this work always seems to have to get done in the 3 busiest months of school usage?
I do not. know. It's just the way their schedule is planned and the way he gets, when he gets the funding and when he moves forward, I'm not sure.
And hey, it's not just football either, that's getting
Oh, no, it's
scrubbed
soccer.
from this, you know what I mean?
Soccer is involved.
It's soccer, you name it.
There's growing youth football, or whatever. So, I mean, the least usage time is in the spring. For lacrosse,
Summer, really.
you know, in the summer, yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Why
Because
not
Nutmeg
start to
Games,
work
Nutmeg
in-
Games doesn't even use it.
why not start to work in June?
So if you wouldn't mind, can you just go back?
I
With
wrote
this
down,
email with the
reiterate, we
this
cannot be
email.
without a
Oh,
scoreboard.
and not only that, just get clarification on a couple of the points that were brought up.
And since the work is gonna start in the next month, if it hasn't already, we're not gonna meet now till the beginning of October. If Doug, through you, Jen, or whatever, could send out an email update to us.
Yeah.
Okay, and if there's questions, come to me and I'll get them, and just that way we cover.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, please.
Is there any update on the Zipadelli field, the grass that got damaged?
You're asking me a grounds question, so I'm gonna do my best that I think he laid more seed down and he closed it throughout Labor Day. And Berlin Little League might be on it tomorrow night or might be starting on it next week, but they're not gonna be on it a lot. And Steve is now removing the tarps during the off season. So now if someone does hop the fence, at least we're not worried about them moving the tarp and just putting it somewhere.
That's the answer.
Well, just to follow up on that, about, how about that potential thing about getting a camera on the fields?
Our meeting with the police, they recommended not getting cameras at this time and
So,
recommended doing the article to the Citizen, which Donna did, and that's just where we're at. We were given the directive not to put up cameras.
so, but my understanding was because they didn't want to take it to the level where they would go to court. And they have some father there with the son and say, why are you here when we jump the fence or something?
That was part of the reason, but the other was the chief is more big on getting the information out there. That's why we emailed all the field users. We did the article on the Citizen, more like educating and reminding people about it instead.
So
I'm
I know, Jen, I'm of the
See, that
opinion,
opens up even more questions. So then,
Yeah.
so are you logging then? So we had this incident happen.
Mhm.
And now we've taken steps, right, to do it the way they want us to do it. We've taken those steps. So the next time something happens, you know, what is gonna be done to react, you know, are we gonna log it and then go back to them and say, look, we did this the first time, it still happened?
If it happens again, yes, Steve and I plan to set up another meeting with the chief of police and the town manager and ask, what do you want us to do now? Because we've done the education that you've asked for. We've done communication to the field users. Our commission is still pushing for adding cameras there. So at least, because to me, the perfect example is what happened at McGee.
Right, you caught the kid.
You didn't press charges or anything, but the kid had to do community service. He did it with the grounds department. The kid was a great kid. Steve loved working with him. He was a great
The
kid.
cameras worked.
He made one mistake
Well,
and he showed up every day at 6 a.m. for a week and helped fix the problem.
so it's
So
So
then
that's,
kids screw up.
Steve and I are kind of holding that so we can have this other conversation with the town manager and the chief of police and say, hey, look at what happened at McGee. We have cameras there and it worked.
It's really
Why
a
can't we do
deterrent,
that? Is it
not to
Valley or
arrest
Sage?
people, but it really should be a deterrent. So, I mean, the same thing can happen, we can identify it. You know, if that's important, we go talk to them like they did the last time, and, you know, it was resolved. I mean, that's what it should be there, we shouldn't be trying to throw people in jail, but it should be a deterrent. And when the more people that it happens to, the more it's gonna become known, the less they're gonna do it.
Right.
That's number one. Number two is the cops never get to Zipadelli because they don't have a key to go in there, right? They just drive through the parking lot and everything's screened, so you couldn't see if anybody was playing in there or not.
They have a key to that, baby.
Do they go up?
That I
I've
don't know.
never seen them go
I
up.
can't say that they were done, but I do know they have.
The
a key.
answer to the question, though, just in general at Sage, there should be a camera in every one of those.
Right.
Baseball, softball, and.
I don't
across-
disagree.
You might-
I mean,
And Steve
coming from an
Right.
insurance standpoint, as an insurance agent myself, quite frankly, I don't see how our insurance premium, this town's insurance premiums are through the bloody roof on these fields without some type of camera there to at least document, to identify the town from vandalism at the very least, so that way there could be some type of evidence collection unit in order to, if it's an adult, to be able to press civil charges. I'm not saying criminal, just civil. in order to, gain back monies that have been lost in order to go ahead and fix the bloody field.
So who ultimately has the decision? Do we have any leg to stand on as a commission to force?
What I think I'm
that
gonna
based on
do
It's our
is-
responsibility.
I'm gonna, I think I've already written down that Steve and I are gonna set up another meeting and say that the commission is really pushing to have cameras, and we agree with that.
And this is the time to plan it so that they're installed by the spring. Because the spring is when we had the previous damage, and that's when we started, like, a
Yeah.
few of us drove around, got kids off fields, and we gotta put something out in the Citizen and on Facebook in the early spring, letting people know, cameras are out there, or if it's decided no cameras, you're supposed to stay off the fields, we said we would put that reminder out.
Do you remember the article you wrote for the Citizen? Did it ever get published?
No, they didn't.
Of course,
No, that was the thing. We
That's
sent
what I
them
remember, because
pictures and
I was
everything.
looking at my drafts and I found what you wrote, and
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't think I ever saw that.
No. So, but we could do it again, we could, if the town allows. it.
Right,
You can
that's the
send
thing, we had to
Put it
write
on the
it in,
Facebook
yeah.
page for the town.
Jen,
Here's the thing.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Send
it's
the
$1 million
carpet back.
scoreboard that's going up there. I mean, at least, not $1 million, but
It's a jumbotron.
we have no way to,
okay, $1.5 million.
we have 2 fake cameras on the building.
Right, so the cameras don't work, that was my question, those cameras don't work? On Sage Building?
I didn't know there were cameras, so
There are 2 cameras.
I don't know the answer
Yeah.
to that.
So. who
All right, we can
Doug's-
follow up and say, there's 2 cameras on
We have
Sage
other
Building.
meetings we have to go to, so we should-
I mean, at the end of the day, it's mitigation of risk and hazard.
All right, let's move along,
Are we done?
almost.
Okay, all right. Jen's gonna follow up, let us know at the next meeting. All right, anything else?
I do have one question that I just want to pose to Jen real quick. This came from a citizen. What exactly are we going to be doing with the soccer field at Percival? If we could get back to us next time, that would be great. I know
What do you
that.
So-
wanna
And
know?
then
it's
we
just-
pushed off to next year.
Next year.
The minutes that we-
It's gonna be next
We
year.
discussed it last week and we gave
There's
the
a lot
update to
more
council, we gave the update to council Tuesday night.
Okay.
And actually, when Steve and I gave the update to council, we talked about funding, and per Kevin Delaney's recommendation is to take another $250,000 to pay for to make sure we have enough funds from unassigned fund balance, and council's on board with that. So it looks like we're gonna definitely have to go ahead to get it done the right time, the right way.
And that's because of the way it was built in the first place.
It's because we can save $45,000. Like I said, this was all discussed last month. So
Yeah.
what had this is a watch meeting, because we did do it in the, saving $45,000 by utilizing the soil from the Scoglio project, by doing the 2 projects at the same time, essentially. With contractors going out to bid last month to do the project this year, would have had a lot of problems with delays because of certain things, PVC irrigation stuff being delayed due to COVID still. So now we're gonna go out to bid in January when contractors are just setting their schedule for the year.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you.
Just quick, the reason that happened is because they cut all those trees down.
Yeah.
That's the other reason. And they all were rotting, and that's why there's swales in it. And there's no dirt, there's no topsoil. It's all
Yeah,
clay.
I just wanted to be on record, just so that way I can direct everybody else to the
Yeah, it's in
recording
the
of this,
minutes
to
and it's
recording
on
of
the
this
recording
meeting,
of last
so that
month.
way they would
And it's also on town council from Tuesday night.
know. Okay, thank you.
okay, any other comments, concerns? Joe?
I'm all set. Thank you.
Okay, can I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Bye.
All right.
Bye, Joe.
Aye.
Have a nice evening, everybody.
You too.